Before we get started, a little bit of news from Equilume. The Cascia Light Mask, which was such a central piece of the Equilume portfolio, has been replaced by the Equilume Pro Light Mask. Now, Rosie, when I was talking to Alyssa at Equilume, I was like, okay, Alyssa, before I read all this stuff that I'm going to have to read about it, what are the key things I need to know? So like she gave me my 3 or 4 key points. And as she began to talk, I was like, well, that actually is pretty cool. You get all the same key benefits. And by the way, I'll come back to this in a minute, but the benefits of the blue light element, like when you actually go, the Equilume website's pretty good for this. When I went to do my research on it, I was like, very rarely do I get drawn into websites anymore where you're like, show me the features, show me the benefits. It's actually pretty well listed, and the pictures of the horses' coats are so shiny. They look so perfect that I was like, okay, you've got me on the pictures. And then, you're in coat condition, muscle development, health and well-being, care, flexibility. As you begin to go through the bullet points, I was like just from light, it is fascinating, and it's real. That's the cool thing about it as well. There's so much of what we're faced with today is marketing, but actually what's class here about the marketing is that as you dig one level deeper, there's amazing science backing everything up. But in short, Cascia Light Mask has been replaced by the Pro Light Mask. A couple of kind of key reasons for the change, and behind it, very easy to charge now, so you've got wireless charging. And equally, you've moved from like an 18-month life cycles to a 12-month life cycle, primarily for ease of people's ordering and their own, the calendar, people keeping their heads, whereby you had a situation that people were kind of, when is my 18 months up? But actually something that happens every year, which has, easy charging, a little bit cheaper actually because of that 12-month cycle rather than 18-month cycle. All of the same key benefits, as I say, but actually a few smaller upgrades in terms of the feedback that Equilume have been getting over the last couple of years of a very successful run with the Cascia Light Mask. So Cascia Light Mask is now the Pro Light Mask. It is available from the 30th of April. So by the time you're hearing this, you're either just about to get it or it is available from all the usual Equilume stockists. I would say as well, and I never say this, but the Equilume website is actually really good on where to get it, why to get it, and the benefits of it. And as I say, the pictures are great, but the science is great too.
You're so right with the website, because for such a complex product, it's such a simple website, which if I can understand it, listeners, you can understand it. And I love the 12-month cycle because I can't remember anything in life. I've got reminders going off all the time on my phone. So something on 12 months is perfect, because I'm sure many of you out there who are really busy riders are exactly the same. So to be able to have that 12-month cycle just makes life a whole lot easier.
It's there. You've got a whole range of the key benefits, why to use it, how to use it, and the key features. So you can check it out on equilume.com. But the main takeaway here, Rosie, the Pro Light Mask is out.
Now, today's guest on an Equilume special of the EquiRatings Eventing podcast is one of the world's most decorated riders at championship level. Phillip Dutton, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much.
It has been a little while since we've had you on the podcast. First of all, how has life been for you over the winter?
It's been pretty good. We spent a couple of months down south where it's a bit warmer. And so we ship out and take all the horses and staff and riders. And it's quite an operation to move, that far south and based down there, but it was good. There's lots of show jumping competitions and access to good instruction and a good way to start the year off in a bit warmer climate. And we started competing, and now we've moved back to Pennsylvania and back what we call home. And we've got a few more hills here to get the horses a bit fitter and kick things off from here.
How does it work for your horses in terms of moving down south and their holidays? How do they fit in with that?
Generally, the season finishes, around October or towards the end of October, and give them a bit of an easier time then. And then during December, we start legging them up, and we have an indoor arena here and try to have a little bit of family time, spend Christmas here in Pennsylvania. And then in the new year, we ship south, and the land there is very flat, so it's a lot of slower trotting, slow cantering, building up that way. And the competing is mainly just unofficial sort of show jumping classes, or there's also dressage shows there, and so it's more training rather than competing when we move south. And then we just started towards the end of our time in Florida, we started to compete a bit, and now we're sort of ready to move on. And once we move back here, we can use the hills a bit more to get their wind a bit better, and finish off their fitness work.
Training and competing with the sun on your backs, though, makes everybody from the staff, from the horses, from the riders, feel so much better. How does Equilume fit into your program at home and then your program when you're on the road?
Well, we have the lights set up here in the barn in Pennsylvania, and obviously during the winter months, it's really handy because the lights come on and sort of change the horses from the, they're more exposed to light because of the Equilume lights, and it's phenomenal how the coats stay nice and short, and I guess they get kind of tricked into keeping a short coat, and then we just keep them blanketed up nicely, and it works out well when we get to Florida. We don't have the lights in Florida, but we have the mask that you can put on that they can keep the same program going there. It works out very well because it's much warmer in Florida, and by the time we get down there, their coats and everything is already prepared for it.
I was going to say they're sort of almost ready for that trip to Florida before you've even got there. They kind of avoid the winter. I'm all for this. I feel like the human version needs to be something that we all have in our lives in the winter months. What about this spring for you? How has the start of the season been? We're talking, listeners, end of March. So, I mean, it's only been a few short weeks, but it feels like it's already kicked into full gear.
Yes, it goes so quickly. Yes, it's going pretty well. I'm excited. I've got a bunch of newer horses to get going this year. Unfortunately, my long-term partner Z got injured last year, and so we've sort of twisted a few arms of my supporters, and we've got some new horses to get going again, which is always exciting. So they all run at an event called Stable View in South Carolina in about 2 or 3 weeks, and after that I'll sort of decide where they're going to run as far as the Kentucky 5-star or the 4-star in Tryon. But yes, I've got the mare Azure, who came from Ireland, so she'll definitely go to the 5-star as long as we're all firing on all cylinders there. I have another one that is coming back from injury called Quasi Cool, and he did a couple of 4-stars and won one of them, and so potentially he could go to the 5-star as well. Then I have a younger one called Denham, who went to Buccalo last year, and then we have the new one Julian that came from Claire Abbott, and so he'll probably go to Tryon. And there's another one that came from England called Passant, and he'll do a 4-star as well. So got a lot to look forward to, and exciting couple of months coming up.
Passant is a really exciting one. Listeners, you might actually recall the horse. I have been banging on about this for the last couple of months, Philip, to be fair, because I was so excited when I found Imposant was Passant and that he was with you. Right. But was with Emily King in England, and has been top 10 at Blenheim in the 8-9-year-olds. Julian's a really exciting one, came from Claire Abbott's yard. Bringing on horses that have been produced by other riders to a top level. You've obviously ridden a lot of very different horses in your career at all different levels. What is the difference in taking on a horse from somebody else that's been produced up the levels and producing them up the levels yourself? How do you find it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, certainly. With Azure, I mean, right from the get-go, as soon as I got on her cross-country, we clicked, and so obviously that was that's not always the case. So, it just sort of every rider's got a different way, a little bit different way, and a little bit different position that they take with their horses. And so I try to just to get to know them and what they like, what they don't like, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. And I try to then instill in them what's important to me. And, each horse is going to be different. Trying not to break too many records in the beginning. Just going out a little bit easier and getting to know them is probably important. And then, and you can watch a few videos of what they've done in the past and that kind of thing. So, the horses are kind of all, to a degree, similar in that way. They generally like to go forward, and if you can get them to understand what you want, generally, they work around it and they want to please.
What do you look for in a horse? What are your non-negotiables?
Well, I want a horse with good self-preservation for one. So when you get out on the cross country, I want a horse that's going to hold on the jump and, be clever and athletic. And then from there, it's sort of, I guess you just got to figure out after that what your priorities are. Obviously, now you need a horse that can be competitive on the flat. And then the show jumping is obviously so important as well. So you kind of need it all, really. You do have to, when you're buying a horse, there's not many on the market, I guess, at that level. So when you're evaluating them, there's always going to be a hole in them somewhere, a weakness. And so you've just got to go in with your eyes open and knowing that, and hoping that, that you can improve on it or make it better. And, I don't think you ever really change a horse. You just improve them. So what you see is what you get. And you just try to keep working on it and improving it. And but having a good, sensible horse like Julian is such a kind animal. He's so wants to please. And there's something to be said for that. You can get away with a little less talent, but if they've got a good mind, you can get, it's amazing how far you can get with a horse.
I love the phrase, you can't change a horse, you can improve a horse, because actually, and the same could be said for people, to be fair. But actually, you can kind of get drawn into that, what would you do differently? But actually, you're better to work on the strengths. And if there is a weakness, then how can you improve upon that rather than try and change the foundations completely? I'm really interested by sort of what still motivates you to be the best and to compete at the very, very top level of the sport. You had a big birthday last year. We're not going to go into details, Philip, but what is it that gets you out of bed in a morning and still drives you to compete at the top level?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I really do enjoy the process of bringing the horses along and improving them every day. Like, I actually enjoy the riding every day. And certainly, I think we all enjoy competition, but the day-to-day I still enjoy a lot. And so the improvement and trying to improve myself, I'm so fortunate, or we are so fortunate to get involved in a sport like this where, if you're a gymnast, you sort of max out in your early 20s, whereas with this, if you can stay in shape, you can keep learning, and maybe you lack a little bit of athletic ability as you get older, but you make up for that with, the experience and how to train the horse and understanding what the horse is going to do and how to improve that horse. And so all of that, it really still motivates me. Our daughter Olivia now has joined forces with us, so that's kind of fun for me as well, because she gets excited about things that I'd forgotten I got excited about. And so it's I don't know, it's become a real family affair now, and it's rewarding. And don't get me wrong, I can't keep going forever, but I'm still riding well, and we've got the horses to go with it, and so it's a good part of my career now.
Is there anything that you look at now and you think, I still really want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, those bigger events, they're hard to win, but I'd still like to, be competitive and to win another 5-star. But in the Olympics and World Championships are such an honor to get there. So, I'd still like to be able to do that. And bringing the horses along is rewarding as well, like bringing a horse right up the ranks to get it to the highest level. There's a real thrill in, starting a horse off, and then, it's just like you've built this horse and you've created this horse and get it to that highest level. And so that's kind of rewarding, and, giving back a bit to other riders and students. I get off on that a bit as well. Like, I enjoy, it's not so much about keeping the knowledge. I enjoy passing it on and other people really experiencing what I've had and and experiencing the pleasure in improving and getting better as you move up the levels, and watching those students do that as well. That's also rewarding for me.
Very, very well put. You have been to 7 different Olympic Games. Mm-hmm. Is there one? I think I know where you might go with this, but is there one that stands out for you? Because they have been exceptionally different. You've been to basically every Olympics since Atlanta in '96.
Yes, I mean, it's been such a change in the sport, and I think in a lot of ways for the good. But like in Atlanta, we had to carry, if you were underweight, you had to carry lead. There was the steeplechases, the roads and tracks steeplechase, the long format, and I think it was a 13-minute cross-country course. Now today, what it is completely a lot different to what it was then. So yes, there has been so many changes. I mean, I've been very lucky with the Olympic Games. The first Olympics, which was Atlanta, I was represented Australia, but I was in my new country, America, and won a team gold there. And then went back to Sydney, which is sort of my home city, and was part of Australia's gold medal team there as well. And then obviously Rio, where I was riding Mighty Nice, his owner, Bruce Dutcheswa, who was a great friend and huge supporter of me, had just passed away the year before, and so we end up with an individual medal there. So to say there's just been one is probably, I wouldn't be able to just pick one out, but it's been an incredible experience for me to obviously represent your country, but then to go through, have some successes like that was something I'll never forget.
How does, we talk to a lot of different riders about the Olympic Games, and I feel like the P word, Paris, is on the tip of everybody's tongue this year. What is it about the Olympics that makes it so special? How is it different?
Certainly being the Olympics, it's our sport all of a sudden becomes, on the international stage. We're a relatively small sport, but once the Olympic Games are on, well then, everybody watches, and, it becomes just that much more important. So there is something special about the Olympics where it doesn't matter, it seems to matter what's going on in the world, everybody stops to watch the Olympics. And it sounds like Paris is just going to be an extraordinary venue and really well done. So, it's they just seem to be getting bigger and more elaborate every year. I don't know. It is a great thing that happens in the world, I believe. And for those couple of weeks, it's everybody sort of binds together, and everybody gets very proud of their country and supporting their country, and it's pretty unique.
The Olympics in Tokyo was obviously 3 in a team, which was a very, very different format to looking back when we go to Atlanta and Sydney. Both Atlanta and Sydney had an individual and a team competition, sort of the old traditional long format of the event. You've already touched upon how the sport has changed. You've lived your career through that. Looking back now, obviously we are where we are, but is there a format that actually you look back on or you look at with the most fondness and that you enjoyed the most, in inverted commas?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mistake to have 3 in a team and no drop score. I don't think that is the greatest for the horses or for our sport at all. So I think that's I don't think that was right. I didn't think it was probably the best when you had an individual competition and team competition, because, not everybody was head to head. So I guess my ideal competition is kind of, where you have 4 on a team, drop score, and the 3 best scores to count. And then the individual comes from that as well. So that's kind of best way to do it, I would think.
Looking at this season, obviously very, very busy couple of months coming up with Kentucky, with Tryon, the final kind of Olympic selections. Have you got some younger horses in your team that perhaps, we've touched upon a few of the big names, but some younger horses that our listeners might be able to look out for as ones to watch for this season?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of got some up-and-coming horses. I don't know them that well yet, because they literally just started competing, and Olivia's just started competing, some of them. But we got a young mare from, she actually come from Italy. She was she went to Lyon as a 6-year-old, and she's got a very long name. It's called Casapia Prazocio, And so she's a 7-year-old now that I'll be bringing out that hopefully be at the 3-star level. I actually have a really smart 5-year-old called Darwin that come from Dirk Schrader. And so I'm really excited about him. He's a beautiful type and, extraordinary jumper. And he's, I think, 70% thoroughbred. So, so there's, few coming up that are excited about. And then Olivia has a nice new mare as well that she's bringing along. So we've got some for the future as well.
I was just going to say 9 and 11 in 2028 LA Olympics. Just saying, not bad ages to be thinking about now.
Yes, exactly. And that'll be another great Olympics as well.
How do you find the kind of the family aspect of it? Obviously, Olivia's role in the business. And do you find her trying to snaffle any of your horses or any that she's got that you kind of think, quite like the look of that one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, she's trying to snaffle them all the time, actually. But she's still very respectful. And so that's good at the moment. I'm not sure how long that's going to last. But, she's learning the ropes. And we weren't that excited about her getting into eventing because obviously when you live it, you realize that, the difficulty of getting up the levels and, making a living from it. But, once she sort of convinced us that this was her love and her passion and she wanted to do it, well, then Evie and I were kind of all in and trying to help her as much as we can to make sure that she learns the right way and does things well and, give her the best chance of making it. And so, so far it's been really good. I think there'll come a time where she probably needs to broaden her horizons and hear it from somebody else apart from her dad. But, at the moment it's working out well. And she does share some of the riding with and competing with some of the horses. So, we're mixing it up a bit but I'm still dedicated to my career as well. But in the meantime, I want to help her along as well.
Keeps you on your toes.
Absolutely.
Keeps the fire there. Absolutely. What about any European trips? Are we likely to see you back at Badminton and Burley at some point in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly will be back. I'm just not quite sure. Certainly not Badminton this year. With the sort of new group of horses, I'm trying to get them going here first. So we'll see how the next couple of months go, and then we'll make a plan for the fall after that. But nothing on the immediate horizon. But yes, we love going. Everybody enjoys the overseas trips, and so once we can get a bit more established here, we'll be certainly back over again.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you back over on this side of the world, I'm sure, at some point in the not too distant future. But big plans over the next couple of months. Lots going on. A very, very exciting team of horses. Phillip, good luck for the next few months. And we can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Thank you very much, Nicole.